there's not a lot of difference in groups on the heel side other than the inner circle. But in the debut of the Butcher and the Blade, were you satisfied? Are you actually kind of into them? Do you hope to see them more on your television screen? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought they were a pretty good tag team. They're one of the more... No, this match right here was one of those very few that you don't see in AEW, really. It felt like an actual tag match at points, not just like one of those, let's do 50 million bumps and spots and flippity-dippities.
Flippity-dippities, okay. Well, I don't know if you heard on Chris Jericho. I think it was a recent I don't know if it was a podcast or if he was doing some sort of interview. I'm going to get the audio for Saturday because I thought it was very interesting. He talked about tag matches in AEW and the lack of tagging.
Oh, he actually said something negative about AEW?
Yeah. Well, now I don't know if it was negative, but it was more him just kind of giving his thoughts on, I guess, a fan perspective. And he talked about the non-tagging issue, and I thought it's something that I'm definitely going to play on Saturday for everybody.
You should listen to the intro video to Jim Cornette's Experience, because there's a funny intro song that is the part of the song it's like, and you fucking tag teams, please learn the fucking rules.
Bob Ruski says, the story was he's just a jobber according to MJF, and he should be easy to beat. He's sure as hell better than Cutler. Yes, he's way better than Cutler. They're the team you don't expect in this promotion, straight up brawlers. Are they like the revival of AEW? I'm not trying to compare the two as in wrestling styles, but you know how the revival are the no flips, no gimmicks type of guys? Is that what the Butcher and the Blade are going with? Because they have a lot of flippity dippities, as Dave said.
I don't think you can go there. Because there's not a lot of that, and I've seen Braxton Sutter do his shit before, and I was never really a fan of this guy. I'm like, how did he get Allie? What the fuck? I mean, come on, that's just weird. But the Butcher is kind of interesting to me. I like his 1920s little eye vocal thing. I love that. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I like this team. I mean, I think it's interesting, and having Allie being I guess a dominatrix or some type of gimmick. You know what she reminds me of with the bunny ears? I'm surprised no one's compared it to that girl from New Japan who does the bunny. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe someone has. We just haven't seen it. Classic
very
style,
similar
says Bob Ruski says yes.
See, I think they're trying to build up what's his face with Blanchard Spears to find him a partner and make him a good tag team wrestler. I think that's what they're trying to go with that. They tried pitching that last night. That they're trying to find a good partner for him.
Yeah, you got to even out the styles on your tag brand. Abso-freaking-lutely. I agree with you on that. Evil groups in AEW, is the future going to be filled with evil organizations? Says Noob. Marion Watson says, WWE does actually more tag team wrestling than AEW. WWE's tag matches don't look down to no tags till the end and the high spot, says Mr. Marion Watson. But that might change. That might change after what Chris Jericho had to say on his podcast.
Because a lot of this wrestling today, no one, even WWE has a problem with this too. No one works for that hot tag anymore. Just to really play it up, like the old school tag team wrestling that a lot of us grew to love early on in the early 90s, or especially in the 80s. If you're on watch that, where you had one guy get beat up for the whole match and get that hot tag and get that big reaction.
Well, I disagree. Street Profits do that very well, I think, in my opinion. Just saying.
I wouldn't know. Let me guess, Tony was listening to Corey Gray's podcast today because the Street Profits are on there.
I have not, but now that you said that, I might have to listen to that. Yeah, the hot tags happen quickly now. Yeah, they're not as they're not as good as they once were. That's for sure. Back in my day, hot tags were great. But let's continue. I want to go by match just to make sure